A microaggression is an unintended comment or action that can come off as racist towards a minority group. Let me explain why not every single microaggression is racist. 1. Many microaggressions stem from curiosity. For example, the microaggression such as, "can I touch your hair?" does not necessarily mean someone thinks that their race is superior than yours. It can just mean someone's curious about a certain type of hair since they don't see it often. Since many African Americans tend to have more textured hair, more like 4A, 4B, 4C type of hair. So it's something that many people who aren't black aren't familiar with. So they tend to be more curious about it. That does not mean anything regarding racism. Can the comment be a little bit weird? Sure, it can be. But that does not mean it is considered racist. There are other microaggressions that stem from curiosity as well, such as, "where are you really from?" That does not necessarily mean someone is racist as well. They can just think you're from a different place, such as if you talk differently or if you not necessarily look different, but like that kind of comes from many people who have a specific type of accent. Many people who have like non-American accents tend to be from different places. So how does that mean they're racist? But by just being curious. The problem is many people call things racist, even when it isn't racist at all. And that's a problem because when everything is deemed as racist, the word loses its meaning. Additionally, beyond just a curiosity factor, lots of microaggressions stem from true stereotypes. For example, I've been told that I speak well for African American, which is true. Many African Americans speak in Ebonics. Many African Americans talk in AAVE. So when someone says I speak well for a black person, that does not mean that they are racist. It's coming from true stereotypes. I can see if many African Americans spoke properly, but they don't. And because of that, many people notice that difference about me, so they comment about it. You should not be offended if someone says that. They notice that you're different from the majority of African Americans or the majority of people in your race. Also, another example is someone saying you're calmer or less aggressive than I expected. That's also not something you should get offended by. Many African Americans, males and females actually, they're very aggressive. They're very violent. So when someone says you're not that aggressive or not that violent, that's good. They're saying that you don't associate with those stereotypes. So you shouldn't be upset when someone says that. Of course, can it be worded differently? Yeah, sure, I guess. Maybe it can be an example of poor delivery, but that does not necessarily mean that they are racist. Personally, in my experiences, I've never gotten offended by microaggressions. I don't even think we should call them microaggressions because they're not racist. When you say microaggression, they're referring to the action as racist when it really isn't. Many microaggressions should be taken as more of a compliment instead of being taken as something negative towards a group. Now let's talk about more examples of microaggressions and address how these are not necessarily racist. One example is, "when I look at you, I don't see color." How is that a racist microaggression? Literally, they're saying that they don't assume everything based off of the color of someone's skin, which is good. I mean, I don't know why this is considered racist towards someone. I mean, I definitely see color. When I see a Negro, I do get more scared, but that's not a racist microaggression. Another one is, "I'm not racist. I have several black friends." That's not a racist microaggression. You don't necessarily have to. I'm not saying that if you have black friends, you're not racist, but that's not a racist microaggression. Another one is, "I believe the most qualified person should get the job." They should. They should. I don't care. I do not care if you are black. Bro, if you're not experienced, if you're less qualified than a white individual, you don't deserve that job. They do. Everyone can succeed in this society if they work hard enough. They can. I don't care if you're black. I don't care. Systemic racism, white privilege, be for real. If you live in America, you can succeed if you put the work in. You live in one of the best countries. You live in one of the best countries. You know how many people wish they could be here because of the American dream? That is not a racist microaggression. That is a factual statement. I don't care what color you are. Why do you have to be so loud? That's not a racist microaggression. That's a genuine question. How come every time I go somewhere, the loudest people in the room are always the African Americans? Yes, I'm not going to say that I have not heard loud white people, but I tend to hear loud African Americans the most. They're very, very loud and aggressive, and it's irritating. Like, can you just be quiet? Another one is, "go back to your own country." Honestly, if you're an illegal immigrant, please do. You don't need to be here. That can come off, that's only racist if you're saying that to someone who you know is a U.S. citizen. That's not necessarily racist if you're saying that to an illegal immigrant. "You don't sound gay" is another one. That's also not a microaggression because, well, by the way, I don't know if I said this before, but it doesn't necessarily need to be racist. It can come off as discrimination because, the gay community is also included with the microaggressions, I guess. But yeah, that's not discrimination because majority of gay males force their voice to sound more feminine. So those are just a few examples of many microaggressions that are quote unquote racist and discriminatory against certain groups of people. But just so you know, if you have these same thoughts or if you say these, you are not racist or being discriminatory against these people. The problem with the liberals is they make everything racist, they make everything discriminatory when that's just not true.